Hi everyone, and welcome back to Egan, Minnesota. Today I'm going to share with you a game that I kind of blended to make my own, and I call it the categories game. So for this game, I intended it for my ELL Level 1 English class, uh, which is students who are very new to English or very new to the country or both. So their level of English is very, very basic. I created it in order to help students working on vocabulary building and vocabulary acquisition in English. For the example that you're going to see, I used the family vocabulary words that we've been working on. I provided directions in multiple languages on how to play the game. You'll see a video of me giving oral directions in English and Spanish since I speak those languages. My Amharic speakers are advanced enough that they understood the English directions, and my Uzbek speaker, I typed the directions on her iPad and translated them via Google Translate. And I did that before I explained the oral directions, so she knew what was going on before everybody else. So that's how I provided directions in four different languages: English, Spanish, Uzbek, and Amharic. For this game, it doesn't take a lot of prep. The three things you need are cards. I created the cards by using note cards and just handwriting vocabulary words on them. I created between 30 and 40 cards to play this game because I figured we'd need some extra. So I just wrote 30 to 40 vocabulary words on those index cards. A timer, I use the Google timer on my computer, and then the directions presentation, which I will show you. So here's me giving the directions for the categories game. So we are going to play a categories game. Those of you last year may remember it. It's a combination of catchphrase and categories. Has anyone played catchphrase or categories? Maybe. The object is to be the first team to win 10 cards. El propósito es ser el primer partido para ganar 10 tarjetas. Okay. So there are two teams. I picked the teams. You will alternate turns. So one team. Perfect. One person from each team is the clue giver for 30 seconds. The clue giver presents his or her team while remains quiet. So, una persona en un equipo va a dar las pistas. ¿Okay? Van a tener 30 segundos para describir una cantidad de palabras. ¿Okay? Mientras tanto, el otro equipo va a escuchar. Preguntas hasta ahora. No. All right. The clue giver will pick a card. I have the cards. Okay. You will describe the word on the card. If your team correctly guesses the card, you win the card. You have 30 seconds to describe as many clues as you can. You may not say the word on the card, say what the word rhymes with, say what the first letter of the word is. Okay? Doing these forfeits your turn, so you can't win if you do those things. Gestures are fine. Okay, entonces, la persona que va a dar las pistas va a seleccionar una tarjeta. Okay? Van a describir lo que está escrita en la tarjeta, pero no pueden decir exactamente la palabra. Okay? Hay que describirlo. van a tener, si tu equipo dice la palabra correcta, van a ganar la tarjeta. La persona que está dando las pistas tiene 30 segundos para describir las tarjetas. Okay. La persona que está dando las pistas no puede decir la palabra que está escrita en la tarjeta. Tampoco no pueden decir las mismas sílabas. Exacto. Ni decir la primera letra de palabra es. ¿Okay? Si un equipo lo hace, van a pedir su turno. ¿Okay? Sí pueden usar gestures, son mociones. Example, okay? I have a card. I say bun or bread, tomato, McDonald's, beef, ketchup, lunch, dinner, lettuce, onion. What is the word? Entonces, si digo esas palabras, ¿qué palabra en inglés estoy escribiendo?
Tomate, cebolla,
Yeah,
lechuga,
yeah,
McDonald's,
yeah.
breakfast, desayuno.
Yeah, so what is it? Entonces, ¿qué es? Yeah, what has...
Es un desayuno.
I hope not. Yeah, son mis pistas. ¿Qué palabra estoy escribiendo?
Un plato de comida.
Es una comida.
Es una hamburguesa.
Good job. But in English,
Hamburguesa.
hamburger. Good job. Okay? So, I say... Yeah, I know, now you're hungry. I say the words, and you guess the word. So, I think you're fine. Example 2, 1 and 1 is, 3 minus 1 is, 8 divided by 4 is. What is the word?
División. Una división.
¿Qué palabra estoy escribiendo?
1,
1 and 1 is...
2.
Yeah, but in English...
¿Divide? ¿Es dividido? O no sé.
1 and 1 is...
2.
Good job, Luisa. The word is 2. Right? Okay, son todas las maneras que tengo para describir la palabra 2.
Oh.
Right? 1 and 1, 3 minus 1. But I can't say 4 divided by 2 because I can't use the word 2. Right? So hay que describir la palabra sin decir la palabra smoke. Right? Pregunta, question.
No.
Okay. Thanks, Lizzie.
All right, so that was my description of the game. Now, how did the game go? What were the results? So afterwards, I told the students what their two teams were. I divided them into their two teams. They had to move together and work as a group. And then they alternated turns. They all had a lot of fun and were super engaged. No group actually made it to 10 cards, so at the end of the hour, I just made the winner the team with the most cards, which happened to be 6. So they all really had a good time playing this game. So how the game engages students mentally, students have to think about the vocabulary and find different ways to explain it in English. They also had the option of using gestures, but they still had to know the word in English. They also had to recall different words for how to describe it. So they were recalling different words, they were reading a word, so it was very mentally engaging. Physically, they were moving around during their turn. A lot of them actually chose to do gestures, which was great. So that kept them physically active, and then after each turn, a lot of the teams got out of their seats to tell the person that they did a good job, and then they sat back down in their groups, which was really nice to see that community building. Socially, students had to connect with their teammates to try to get them to guess the vocabulary word. So they were making eye contact, they were speaking directly to the people in their group, and then after each round, they discussed what happened. And as you may have been able to tell from my video, majority of my speakers are Spanish speakers. And so they would, have a little chat to debrief each round in their language, which was really cool. Cultural responsiveness. I'm honoring and respecting students' home cultures by providing directions in various languages. Again, English, Spanish, Uzbek, and Amharic were the four languages that were spoken in that classroom. I allowed for banter between rounds in different languages. So a lot of my Spanish speakers were giving each other feedback. I have two brothers that speak Amharic that were bantering back and forth, and we're learning about family vocabulary words, which is super relevant to them and their lives. It also took into account students' English language development levels, accommodations for students in the silent period. So when students first get to the United States, they experience what's called a silent period. And it's basically what the picture says. When I'm ready, I will talk. So they sort of stay silent until they're ready to speak English. Silent periods can last anywhere from 1 day to over a year. It's different for every kid. And I do have a couple kids in the silent period who just did the gestures, and that's fine because that showed me that they understood the word and they were really trying their best. And right now we're building literacy at the word and phrase level. So my second example, I tried to give them like sentence frames. I knew most of them wouldn't be able to get to full sentences in their descriptions. And then on the cards, I just had one word written on each card. So they only had to read one word at a time, and then they orally had to say a word or say a phrase that described the word. Student assessment, formative, informal. I was listening to student conversations, watching student performances. They were all doing a really great job. Formative, formal. I was calculating points to find a class winner. Competition motivates my students a lot. So they found that aspect of the game really motivating. Summative, informal, conferencing with students individually throughout the unit on their progress of understanding family vocabulary words. The summative for this unit is going to be a poster presentation on a family tree. They'll need to pick 8 family members. It can be any family members. Create a tree, and then they'll be presenting it to the class. The growth mindset, it allows for the not yet. A student could pass on 1 word per round. So the really difficult words, like they really have trouble with in-law. I had a student get mother-in-law and decided to pass to go on to the next word, which is fine because then we'll come back to that word maybe in a different round as I put it back in the pile to just shuffle. Students could explain or gesture in as many different ways as possible for the duration of their time. So if their team wasn't understanding one way they were saying or gesturing, they could come back and try again and keep going, which was really great. Feedback, my oral praise was obviously for effort over points on the board. So telling them, hey, nice try, you were really on track. Things like that. Making the focus about trying and teamwork instead of correct answers. They really like that social aspect of it, so that was great. And then setting high standards for all. Everyone had to participate no matter how new to English. And my newest students, the brothers, started about a week and a half before we did this. So they were quite new. So thank you for watching this presentation. Again, it's my categories game, which is kind of a combination of categories and gestures, and just provides for different ways for explaining vocabulary words at the word level in English. So thank you so much.